Hello everybody, Robert here, and today we are going to be working on my 1997 Sunnybrook RV. This is a 26-foot bumper pull travel trailer, and last weekend we were traveling and I smoked one of the bearings on the axle, so we've got to do some major repair. Let's get into it. All right, so here's the hub that went wrong. What we were doing is 2 weeks ago, we departed on a trip to Port Townsend, Washington from Greeley, Colorado. We drove out, it's about 1,400 miles, and no problems on the way out. On the way back, we got all the way back to Cheyenne, which is only 45 minutes from home, and I looked in the mirror and blue smoke billowing out of the hub. I knew there was a problem immediately, pulled over, and yeah, we totally cooked the bearing. There's no sign of any of the bearing or the little rollers or anything in here anymore because it all got so hot and pieces were just disintegrating. Also, check out this steel wheel here. The center of this is discolored from being so hot, and of course we flung grease all over the place too. So now I'm gonna get under here. I got it up on jack stands. I'm gonna start pulling this axle out, and then we'll take a closer look at it once it's up on the workbench. And just for fun, here are the parts I brought back. That's the magnet, totally cooked. This is the brake drum, totally scored inside. And these are the brakes, no pads left. The pads were just all cooked. Here's a piece of the pad. But yeah, everything totally ruined. So all that will be replaced. Alright, so this is the good one. Notice how everything's nice and shiny through here. And looking in closer, you can see this is where the outer bearing rides, the inner bearing rides right here, the grease seal rides right here. It all looks nice and smooth. There's no grooves or anything on there. Now, the other side, you can see I had to use a grinder to remove the inside portion of this inner bearing, and I accidentally nicked it there. But even this grease seal, this area, this is where the grease seal rides. It's real rough. There's a bunch of stuff that just got all welded on there. And then of course, this is grooved. This is where the outer bearing rides. And this stuff here, all these threads got all nicked up. Maybe that could be cleaned, but this stuff cannot be redone. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a cutoff wheel, cut right here, and cut this axle off, and then we're gonna get a new stub to put on. You can buy this whole spindle assembly. That's my plan right now. I wanna know the inside diameter of this axle tube. It needs to be 1.75 for this to work, because that's what the replacement comes as. If none of that works, then we'll scrap the whole thing, buy a whole new axle and put that in. But right now I'm gonna just repair this because a whole new axle is $525. If you wanna just buy the spindle alone and weld it on, that is $82. And so that's what I'm gonna try first. My neighbor has a welder that either he could do it or I could borrow it. And that's my plan. So I'm gonna start cutting. I'm gonna mark it off first and make a nice straight line, and then go as easy as I can and cut that off. right, let's measure this. I want to see 1.75 because, you know, the point of no return, it was way back there. Oh yeah, no, this is 2.2. 2.25. Yeah. Okay, 2.25. So I'd rather avoid buying a whole new axle, but I'm gonna see if maybe we can make a sleeve for this, or maybe there's more than one, you know, stub assembly I can put on the other end to get a new spindle. The one I saw was only 1.75, but maybe they've got 2.25. So I'll have to call the company and see what they've got. UPS brought me something today. I got my replacement spindle, and this will be replacing that old burned out, smoked out, ruined one that I cut off a couple of weeks ago. So we're gonna put this baby in here. That's not gonna work though. It can't wobble like that. I'm gonna get a sleeve made at a machine shop that will be, it'll fit around the outside of this and also fit on the inside of there, make it nice and tight. Then we'll drill a couple of holes through here in various spots, drill all the way down to contact the spindle, and then you do some plug welds to fill that in and make everything nice and tight and secure. And then we will put it all back together. Okay, one more thing. I'm gonna be nitpicky for a second here. I bought all this stuff from eTrailer. I've been buying stuff from them for 15 years and also watching all their YouTube videos. But I bought this, and I bought a couple of backing plates and a few other small miscellaneous parts. It came all in this giant box. And as you can see, it's all way down there in the corner. So I guess it was just rattling around in there in the UPS truck on the way here. It all seems to be fine though. So I guess it worked, but it seems excessive. Here's what was down in the corner. One of these backing plates. It makes me wonder, you know, at the factory, or not the factory, but at the warehouse, do they have these stacked up all nice and neat, or did a dump truck just dump a big pile of these in the corner? All right, I'm done. Let's get back to work. Okay, so here is the sleeve that I had made at a machine shop. It fits over top of this spindle down here. Just like that. It's a very tight fit and it slides all the way in. And we also had this tube measured. It will fit right inside there. It does not, however, because as you can see here, there is a weld seam. This is a tube that was welded together. And so now I got a flap wheel on my Dremel tool, and I'm gonna grind that down so that this sleeve will fit inside the tube. Making a little bit of progress here. It's starting to get a little smooth here at the front, and I can get this started about, not even a quarter inch, barely a quarter inch in there. This is about 10 minutes of work already, and that Dremel tool is starting to smell a little funny, like it's getting real hot. So I'm gonna take some breaks here and come back at it in a minute. Well, that was a lot of work. I also don't know what I'm doing, so I'm kind of making it up as I go. I know WD-40 is not the best cutting oil. It's not a cutting oil, it's a lubricating oil. But it's all I had, so that's what I used. I used a 1/4 inch drill bit in my drill press to make the first hole, and then I got a 1/2 inch drill bit in my hand drill. I had to use the handheld drill because when that bit's really long, and when it's in here, there wasn't enough room to get the workpiece underneath the drill bit. But here, let's take a look. You can see down in here, I'm into, from the side, you can see the first layer, the second layer, and the third layer. So now we're gonna go weld this whole thing together. So we'll start a weld down in that hole and weld all 3 of these together and fill up the holes here, 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 and then there's 2 more on that side. So, and then we'll weld these seams here as well, and then this sucker will be in tight. So I'm pulling the brake drums off of this axle. This is scored up pretty bad. When you drag your fingernail across, you can feel all these ridges and grooves. Just by looking at it, you can tell that's worn really well. We've put at least 40,000 miles on this trailer ourselves, and I don't know how many were on it before. I don't think a ton, but this is a lot. This is brand new. I put this on just to get us home, and there was no brake attached at that point because it had all melted away. But look how nice and smooth that is and shiny. So I'm gonna order 3 more of these. And then I also have already ordered 2 backing plates that has all the brake pads and the electric, the magnet. That magnet looks nice and new. You can see that magnet has some scoring. It doesn't actually look too bad. Sometimes you can see that it gets worn through and you can see stuff underneath. This one's not too bad, but these aren't too terribly expensive. I'm gonna get 2 more and then we just have 4 new sets of brakes all the way around on that trailer. All right, so I wrapped this back up in plastic here to keep all the dust out because my kids are out here daily working on projects, making dust and stuff over here with using the Dremel tool to carve all kinds of cool stuff. So that'll keep it nice and clean until the other ones get here. Now I'm gonna put on my brake backing plates. I bought 4 of these brand new, and I got 4 new brake drums. That way everything's new. I don't need to worry about any of this. I've got a lot of miles on this, so it's due to be refreshed anyways. When you get a backing plate, it comes with the pads, magnets, springs, everything you need. You just attach the wires, bolt it up, and you're ready to roll. So I'm gonna install all 4 of these now, and I'll come back and talk to you for a minute about the drums that I got as well. The brake drum, you can see the backside here too. So this is pre-greased, the bearings are inside, and we've got these plugs to keep all the dust out. I'm going to show you how this goes on. Alright, I should have put on my gloves before this last little bit because we're now getting greasy. So there's 3 pieces that go on once you've got your hub on and your bearings in place. That is, the first thing is this big washer. It's a very, very thick washer, and there's a flat side, so it only goes on one way. You push that in, and that rides against the bearing. The next thing is one of these tang washers. And this little piece here is meant to bend down in between these little channels in this castle nut, and that's what holds everything still. Man, it's starting to rain. I'm gonna move quick. You put that on, and you put this on, put your castle nut on. You kind of have to go back and forth sometimes to get it started. There we go. And I use a big set of these channel grips to tighten it up. And you don't go too tight, you just go till it's snug. You can feel there's pressure here, so now you back off a little bit. I'll back off about 2 notches on the castle nut, and then bend one of those down. You can see I bent this one down. I don't know how easy that is to see, but that's going to keep this from twisting. And now you put your dust cover on this cap. You just knock this on with a mallet. Now I just need to do the wiring in the back, and then this one's ready to roll. Now I'll repeat 3 more times. Alright, everything is done. Take a look. Nice and shiny. Studs, lug nuts, the hubs. I mean, you saw it all. All new parts down here. One thing I didn't mention earlier was that the axle shaft itself is the original. And some of you may be wondering, why didn't I just replace the whole thing? That is absolutely something you can do. You can buy a new shaft. It'll come with the spindles, and you can get one to fit. You can get them custom made to the right size. You need to know the overall length from the very end here to the other end. You measure that, and then you need to know the spacing for your spring perches. This is being an older trailer. It's not an off-the-shelf sizing that you can buy, but you can have them made, and it's not that much more expensive. And this will be a window into my philosophy on things. Newer is not always better. You could see when I was attaching the spindle into the axle shaft that is existing, it wiggled all over the place, right? That's because the new axles are a lot narrower. The old ones are a lot thicker, heavier, more durable, and that's why I wanted to keep it. So there you have it. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe. I will see you on the next one. Thank you.